Hello and welcome back to Wireman's Whimsy. Today we are going to use the Shaded Summer stamp set, and I'm going to show you how to emboss with color. And I'm going to use heat embossing to do this. I don't know if you can see how this is done, but I'm going to use the Stamparatus and I'm going to show you how to do it. So the background paper is the, what did I use? The Dandy Designs. It's part of the Celebration set. And I have already done the technique on the greeting piece. I've used the scalloped contour dies to do the card. So I've got my card base, I've got my 5 1/4 by 4 piece of the Dandy Designs, and I've got my Stamparatus. And now, what I'm going to do is I've already got the stamp all lined up. So I'm going to, that's a bit high there, so I'm just going to put the stamp set underneath it just so that when I ink it up, it doesn't move around a lot. And first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use my Coastal Cabana, and I'm going to ink up my stamp. I'm not going to press down really hard because it doesn't need a lot, and I'm just going to fold this over, press it down lightly, and lift it up. So there's my image. Now I'm going to take this and close it. There we go. I'm going to take a wet wipe and I'm just going to clean off the stamp. It doesn't matter if there's a little bit of color around the edge. I just don't want to transfer the color onto my Versamark pad. So I'll just let that dry for a second. And then I'm going to ink this up with the Versamark pad. And because I'm using the Stamparatus, it's going to come down in exactly the same place again. So what I've done is I've put the sticky Versamark right over top of the image that I inked. So I'm just going to take this out of the way, because what I need to do is use my clear embossing powder, and I'm just going to sprinkle this over top. So, and I get these little containers just from the dollar store, and I find them really, really useful. Just tap any excess off. I like them because they actually clip closed, so I'm not going to accidentally tip it over. So bear with me. I'm just going to run my heat tool and heat emboss this. You can tell when it's heat embossing when it changes color and goes a little brighter. So one thing you want to do before you touch it is make sure that there aren't any dull spots in it. If there's dull spots, it's embossing powder that hasn't actually melted yet. So I need to cut this with the scalloped contour die. I'm not going to do it yet though. I'm going to give that just a minute to cool down a little bit, because I don't want to flatten it out. And if it's a bit warm, it might flatten a bit. So I'm just going to put my Dandy Designs piece of designer series paper down onto my card base. And that should be cool enough now. So I'm just going to pop it into the, yeah, it's cooled right down. So I'm just going to pop this into the stamp and cut and emboss. Use just a sticky note just to hold that in place a little bit. Pop that down, and I'll run it through the machine and we'll put the rest of the card together. I also used some of the iridescent pearls, I think they're called. Iridescent pearls, basic jewels, and I colored them. And I didn't have Coastal Cabana. I couldn't believe that. It must not be available in the catalog. So I used light shaded spruce to color my iridescent pearls. So there we go. So we've got this piece now, and I flat mounted this just like this. Just make sure it's centered and straight, and it's really helpful when the design is a nice straight pattern in it. So then I'm going to just dimensionalize my greeting, and as you can tell, paper has two sides, and again I have used both sides because I pressed too hard and I got a halo when I did it the first time. So I'm just going to drop this off the bottom here because I found it was too much if I did it there, like it was too kind of frilly. So I just center this, pop it down, and there we go. And then I'll take my iridescent pearls and pop them down. And just pop one there, just to add some interest because the background of this is quite plain. But I thought if I used an embossing folder, it might actually compete with the pattern in the background. But that is our card for today, using Shaded Summer and using clear embossing powder and the Stamparatus to stamp your image in color. So thank you very much for watching, and let's create together again soon.